Come on up, dolls. Beauty and the Spirit is live with
We
Tina
are here.
and Joseph Woodson.
This is Tina.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
Joseph. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Beauty and the Spirit.
Yes, welcome to Beauty and the Spirit, where the Spirit matters, honey. The Spirit simply matters. Yes. So I want to start by saying I love your hat. It's fabulous.
Thank you, Miss Tina, as always. And I love this kimono and this brooch, this peacock brooch I see in the middle. It's
Yes, she's.
beautiful.
Thank you. I love peacocks.
Yes, I know.
They're one of the Lord's greatest creations.
Yeah. And they can fly. You taught me that they can actually fly. I didn't know that.
Yes. So you got to be careful
Yeah.
about what doesn't seem to fly. One day it will take flight, honey. And you'll be like, oh, up and away she goes.
Oh my goodness. So
Yes.
beautiful.
But
So
since today is Friday, it's been a while because we have some things that we're just going to brief on today's show. And I just wanted you to know that I'm getting more empowered by each show. I don't know about you.
yeah.
I'm feeling more empowered. Am I right? I mean, how are you feeling with each
I
show?
feel like we're finding our flow. We're having great guests. We've had some wonderful conversations.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we get stronger and stronger every single week.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel very good.
We definitely are getting stronger and stronger every single week. But I tell you this much, you have to realize that there's times in life where you don't always feel inspired. You don't always feel the energy to say, I have to pick up and thrive every day. You know, you have to come to a realization that the most empowered person or the most enthusiastic person in life has their days. And when you come to a realization of that, then you will know that you're not alone. And then you can, hold on to those people around you that support you and love you unconditionally so that you can just keep going and keep moving, because that's the main thing, is to keep moving.
It's true. As you know, these have been challenging times, and I just have learned to turn off the television. Listen to my favorite music, drink my favorite glass of wine, tea, and just like meditate and just enjoy the moment, because there's so much negativity that you can feed yourself that if you don't find what makes you happy and what gets you to that happy place, then you can go into a dark place and have those days where you're like, oh my God, I'm stuck in the house.
Right.
What's happening to our world? No one's getting along.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it can be very daunting and very
it can be very daunting indeed. But that word daunting, honey,
daunting.
she sounds like a daunt. Okay. And you know what? Speaking of daunting, we're supposed to do a quick kiki this Friday, right? Because we have a briefing of the Josephine's Cotton, the review. Okay. Yes. That's coming up. Yes, June the 20th, honey.
So excited. It's our very first virtual performance of Josephine's Cotton. So it's very exciting to figure this out, right? Like there's challenges during the
But you know what? Let me just go back to daunting. Daunting, honey.
The word of the day.
The word of the day is daunting. You got to split it up too. Daunting. Yes. This is how you know people took their SATs, but that's a whole nother situation. Long story short, speaking of daunting, so I could stay in one place before we jump to the other place and then straddle the second place and then barrel turn on the fourth place, okay? And then lay out on the fifth place. This is the thing. In life, like our art, you have to have those moments when there's darkness. And I'm going to a place of viscerality right now for each artist, each person living in this life journey. that the dark times are when you really, as I said in prior episodes, you really find that place within yourself that you never knew would evolve if you did not tap into it. So what I mean by that is sometimes we as people, we are so busy trying to experience the thing called light, is that we forget that in the beginning, the creator said, let there be light. So when you're in that darkness, the main thing was he said, let there be light. The word came out. The word is important when you're in a daunted place or a daunting place. You have to speak life. You have to speak power. You have to speak positivity. Are we all positive? That's where I'm going. And Mr. Woodson, because I also want you to elaborate. I just was realizing that I'm noticing even on social media outlets, I wanted to tell you in private, but then again, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yes.
I just think that a lot of us, due to our upset and our pain, we have to really be careful that what we say in a dark place. Because sometimes, as in a relationship, as being a married person and in a friendship, you say things to a person that you don't mean when you're very angry or you're upset. There's people who say things to their loved ones in a tragedy or a great fight, or an argument that they might have. And then they go away and they say, wow, I didn't mean that. And then some people say, no, people mean what they say. But in actuality, there is some truth to every word that comes and out of the oral cavity, out of the mouth, because that's what the Bible tells you. Be careful, because the tongue is a powerful weapon, and but the thing is that all of us at one time or another, we are all guilty of saying something that, I will put it this way, we have not totally meant from our spirit. So I'm not the judge of that, but what I'm saying is that because I've been one of them, is you might say things out of anger or angst, but you really didn't mean that. The reason why you shot like that is where I'm going, is because somebody hurt you along the way, meaning that we're in very sensitive times now. Everyone, when I'm analyzing this, it's very implosive. It's very explosive. It's very imploding for a lot of people on social media. So what I'm saying for myself, I'm not telling anyone what to do. For me, and that's what I was going to discuss with you, is that I'm not going to say everything that I actually need to say at this time. It will be said at a later time, and when God sees for it to be said or the circumstances right. But some people are affected by your words and what you say. So you can't just think about the person that you are aiming to hurt, because the person that you might be aiming to hurt, there are people who love those people, or people who just simply might not share your views. So you can't get mad at everybody for not sharing your views, because a person might be in total agreement with you, but there's that 2 percentile or that 3 percentile where that, guess what? People have their own minds. So you cannot get mad because someone at this point in time respond to you the way you didn't think they should respond, because we're all in a very volatile place. So I would suggest, if you're completely bothered by it, you ready for this? Delete. Okay, it's called the delete button. It's called the block button, meaning you no longer have entry.
Yes. This thing called technology can be a blessing and a curse. Back in the day, if you were upset about something, maybe one of the tactics you would do is to write it down in a letter or write it in an email. And
Right.
say, like, sleep on it and see how you feel about it in the morning. This generation is not doing sleeping on anything and not thinking about anything. Like, they think something, they feel something, and it's a immediate reaction, which I understand. But with life, you have to learn how to control what you say to a certain extent. You just can't say anything and everything whenever and to whomever you want at any time. And you have to also realize that once it's put out in that internet, into social media, it's there forever. People screenshot, people take videos, they keep them. There are people whose job it is just to go on people's social media pages to see who their friends are, what their interactions are, what kind of photos they have. And they do that before even hiring them for a particular job. So I understand expressing yourself, but also know that that's going to be there forever. So just be wise about what you're saying and who you're saying it to. I think, as well.
Yes. And I'm one for complete freedom of speech and public advocacy. And as you know, we are totally for the empowerment and uplifting our community. And as people of color, we have the responsibility, I believe, to continue this legacy towards excellence and not to demote ourselves. I'm one of those people who believe that. I believe that sometimes all of us sometimes it's easy to judge a person, but you have to realize we're all in this together. And at the end of the day, everybody has their own way of how they are constructing the answer. So we will get closer to the answer as long as we are on the same path. If you see someone is totally off the pathway, before you go into a place where you completely disrespect anybody, you just let them go. And you keep moving towards the people who keep your purpose and your mission, and they take your community and put your community at heart, take your community at heart and put our community as a priority. Because right now, people of color, we are not a priority. So we have not ever really been a priority. And that is the fact. So we know this. Those who are not on board as far as helping us develop ourselves and move so we can get to a progressive level of equality and achieve equality to some extent on this earth, we have to take a place of, listen, to add more stir and to add more violence and more nastiness to the situation. Guess what? Everybody's just not at that place. A lot of people have suffered mental illness right now, depression. People have had domestic violence, and the way they react, you might be judging them too swiftly because your mind is set on exactly how they should act, exactly how they should respond. But one thing I learned with all these years of living, and I pray for more through wisdom, is that a wise man listens and watches. And if he has to read, he has the encyclopedia to the left and the Bible to the right. I know that's right. Okay, if I'm going to let you have it, there's going to be some knowledge around me, and there's going to be some factual base. Wisdom, right. Because most of the time, people attack you from an ignorant place. They attack you from a place where they feel that they can damage you or your self-esteem or your self-worth or your reputation. So when they do that, that's when you know that's from a malicious place. But when it comes to facts, you got to go to wisdom. You have to go to your spiritual place. You have to call on the Father, and he will give you the right ways as to do that. So I guess what I'm saying, Mr. Woodson, is you can't keep judging people on how they should react right now. People are in a lot of different spaces. And all I know, if you, for me and mine, you will put out what you need to put out. People will get the point. People will see what you're trying to say, and either they're going to join the bandwagon or not. Where I'm going with this is, how about not the bandwagon, the movement? And where I'm going with this is, I have a lot of friends of different colors. They have not said anything. They have not responded. They have not put anything up. But these are people that are non-colored that will say, I love you, Miss Tina, or they will show up in classes and support many different things that I'm a part of. And guess what? I appreciate them for that. But guess what? I'm not going to attack them for that either. Let me tell you why. Because guess what? I've been seeing them for who they are. So I'm not surprised. And I've told a lot of them I know who they were. So them being quiet and not supporting, I'm not going to go up there and say something nasty to them to give them another place to say, see what I'm saying about those folks? See what I'm saying? I'm not going to give that to them so that I can rant and run my mouth just for attention. Right now, we have a couple of viewers up here, and there will be more that will be seeing this, I'm sure. They will lurk in the dark. Yes, they will. But it's okay. Yes, you know they will lurk. Listen, why wouldn't they lurk? All the fabulosity up here.
But I think what you said is true. Like, we just need to listen. Bottom line, we need to listen to each other. You know, I
Yes.
think everyone is so opinionated. Everyone is so like hot right now that if we just take a moment just to listen and think, and understand one another, I think hopefully we'll get to a better place. I'm hoping, I'm praying. UNITY, Queen Latifah, all of it.
Yes, UNITY. Listen, Queen Latifah knew what she was saying. And
Yes,
she
yes,
was for women's empowerment, women
yes,
empowerment, and cultural advancement way before. And our upcoming, we have some projects coming up that will be focusing on cultural diversity, cultural inclusion, and
yes,
Black men and women in fitness. That will be coming up on
yes,
July the 10th, 2020 at 5 p.m. The
yes.
link will be attached and also available on this YouTube page, Skin Dance Company, with Beauty and the Spirit, as we explore all of the different controversies in the dance fitness fields for Black women and men of color.
Yes.
So, that being said, we have a lot on our plate.
We do. So you were talking about empowerment. Queen Latifah. There's also another woman named Josephine Baker.
Yes, I know who. Wait. Our viewers are up here, and listen. I keep telling you. Wait, we got to read what our viewers say because they're very important. I see. Joyce says it is necessary for your sanity. I know that's right, Joyce. If anyone wants to take your peace, cease.
Yeah.
And someone named, oh yes, Tara Pope Leggett says lurkers. I know that's right. Lurkers in the dark. While you sleep, they are scrolling. While you sleep, they scroll. Yes. But you know what? Speaking of scrolling, scrolling. That is something in our community. Again, we're going to touch on that with Black women and men in fitness. Our community has to stop it. They just, when I told you the other episode, when you like something, click like. If you want to know what I'm doing, pop up on here and I'll give you a taste. She don't hide and seek for no one. Okay, listen. Why would you lurk like the lady? Yes, Tara Pope says. I know that's right. And why would you always not give credit to your community if you like something? Yeah. We have to get out of that. Like I said, we have so much work to do as a people. We do. And if anybody does not want to join our community towards advancement in equality in life and living in this world as people of color, then guess what? You know who they are. Stop buying from their stores. Stop soliciting for them. Stop selling their items. Stop selling their products. Stop buying their clothes. Don't talk to me about all of this stuff if you are still buying the items that you think are name brand. When somebody of color says, guess what? I make this. I make earrings. I make beads. I make bracelets. Buy it. Support it. Yeah. And I found something, Mr. Woodson, that when you support within your community, let me tell you, don't I always tell you this? On the sidelines, you will be blessed. When you support people who support you or who have uplifted you, you will always be blessed. You shall no longer want. I'm a believer in that.
Very, very true. You're right. I mean, people are about the names. The name brands, they mean nothing. They don't have equality. So why are you purchasing that? And you should be putting it back into your own community.
Absolutely. Put it into your own community. Yes. Or how about you put it into some scholarship fund for Black kids for camps and arts programming. I've been an advocate, as you know, Mr. Woodson, and you have assisted me for so many years on the advocacy in the arts in Staten Island. Yeah. And I have been on the forefront of fighting for the artistic value and merit of dance companies, dance artists, and women and men of color on the island of Staten Island. And I do want us to keep this ongoing discussion and dialogue, because after we get to another place where we have some form of unity, or we get to a place, I pray, that we can at least have a healthy dialogue as a nation. I believe that fighting each artist is not the answer. What we need is unity. We need people to step up and say, hey, where are the Black companies on Staten Island? I've said this in several different meetings. And you know what? I will come in with my bun and my nails and my suit, and I will sit there and I will advocate and I will stay right there. And I have had people turn a deaf ear. I've had people that said, people of color that said, you know what, I'm going to look into this. I've never heard back from them.
I know. I know.
Listen, we could talk all day about this. We're not going to do a long episode this week, but let me tell you, every episode that we do is what, Mr. Woodson? Juicy.
Yes. Well, we have so much to talk about. Like, there's so many topics that we can talk about. You know, what also came to my mind is I love this beautiful painting you have in the background. Is that Miss Josephine Baker as well?
Absolutely. Oh, yes. You know my, say it.
She's the same complexion as you. What's your complexion?
Oh, listen. Yes, she is. Yes, she is, Mr. Joseph. My complexion is chamois. And you know, I got that complexion code from the late, great Miss Wynn. She dressed all of the greats. Miss Wynn from Dance Theater of Harlem. One day as a young student, we could go on and on with our show because I have, you know, we're like walking half history books. But when I was a young girl on scholarship in between Juilliard and Dance Theater of Harlem, we used to spray paint our point shoes on the fire escape. A lot of people don't know that. And like now we have all of these colors and different companies now that we fought for. That's another topic. Yes, with tights for our color and different things as we progress. But we used to spray paint our point shoes on the fire escape. So one day I had my new point shoes and I was like, I was, in a lot of ways, I'm still young and clueless. And I said, let me go downstairs. And I said, Miss Wynn, I need to take my shoes. And she would never let everybody into her costume shop because Miss Wynn was so articulate. She was so clean and she was just so wonderful. And she said, come in. And when she said, come in, my body just froze up, Mr. Joseph. That's that respect that we just have for our elders and our greats back then. I can't describe it. Like, I was just so honored. I didn't say she was the woman of age that was in the basement at Dance Theater of Harlem. She's the old lady. I would not even think how sometimes our generation thinks. I just thought, wow, this woman, she dresses and takes care of the costumes of this great company and these great Black ballerinas that I'm amongst every day. And Arthur Mitchell holds her with so much value. And she said, you could come in. So I stepped in like I was on a rose petal. And I'll never forget it. Because, you know, I can't give them too much. It's got to be for my book. I'll never forget it. She said, come. She liked me. So she said, you're a chamois, honey. She said, you're chamois. Go over there and get chamois. And I said, and picked it up and brought it back to her. She said, you're chamois. I said, thank you, Miss Wynn. And she said, you welcome, baby. And I walked out and I held that spray paint like it was gold. Because I was like, I have to spray my shoes because we have a break during class. I can spray my new shoes. And I have to return this paint back to her. So, it was something small, but it wasn't to me. It was
a big deal.
Yes. Where I'm going with this is she gave me Tina. You know, I know my complexion, but she gave me like your beautiful complexion, but she told me with the hue that I was. I left Dance Theater of Harlem that day from Miss Wynn knowing you're paper bag brown, but there's a hue. Your hue is chamois. And Mr. Woodson, you get me. Like, we're live, but it's all good, honey. Yes.
No, it's beautiful. I think it's so beautiful. And I think a lot of our viewers don't know the challenges that Black dancers have had to go through throughout the years, only being able to purchase pink tights or pink ballet slippers, which is supposed to be skin color. And it was really DTH and our show that helped to bring that, change in the industry with making sure that, Sancha or Campesio or these different name brands made different hues. I mean, I think that's part of the beauty of why Rihanna has done so well with her makeup line because she has shades for every single hue of a black person, a brown person. And people are like, wow, Fenty has done so well. Yeah, because she is appealing to everyone. And so it's the same thing with dance. And I think you are chamois. That's a beautiful word and it suits you beautifully. So I love that. I think I'm about a caramel. Maybe a
You know what? I think you're a caramel mixed with a dash of mahogany. But I think you're a caramel, and they said, "Hey, give it a dash of." See, cinnamon. I was gonna say cinnamon, but listen, you know about that cinnamon, honey.
It's spicy.
She could be spicy in a bad way if you let her. Okay, but you, yes, I'm telling you, you have the beautiful complexion as Arthur Mitchell himself. I believe that you have that beautiful complexion. And you know what? Leaving off of that, because we are going to be promoting Josephine's Cotton W, which will be on June the 20th, actually June the 20th at what time?
At 7, we're going to do a little interview with some of the cast, correct? On YouTube. And then at 7:30 via Zoom, we will have the first virtual performance of Josephine's Cotton. So for those of you who are interested in coming to see it, come next Friday at 7 o'clock for our Zoom, 7:30 for the Zoom performance, but 7 o'clock for the YouTube virtual interview of the cast.
Yes. You will get to meet the cast of Josephine's Cotton, the review. I play the late, great Josephine Baker. And you don't want to miss this, guys. You don't want to miss this. The Josephine's Cotton cast is the most talented cast, and we continue to keep growing even during this pandemic and this time of civil war, racially, and world change. And the reason before we conclude, the reason that me and Mr. Joseph are touching on this show, being a shorter version today, but touching on the mechanics of what we're going to present with Josephine's Cotton Review, is because as we give you the history of Josephine Baker, as you know, she played a very prevalent role in the discrimination and the segregation era that we went through as a people. And her role as an activist was very, very important because she symbolized beauty and vitality of the Black American culture, which took Paris to storm in the 1920s. But she stood for an advocate in the support of the civil rights movement, and she participated in various demonstrations. She boycotted segregated clubs and concert venues, arguing that if African Americans could not attend her shows, she could not perform.
I love it. That's what these artists these days need to do. If you are working for someone that does not support people of color, that does not support immigrant rights, then cancel your shows. Don't make them give them money. You know, stand up. I mean, we all have to make sacrifices, and sometimes it's a financial sacrifice that you have to make in order to make a statement, to make change.
Don't give them what? Excuse me. What did you say? Don't give them what?
Don't give them your money. Don't give them your performance. Don't give them your talents.
Don't give them any coins.
No coin. No coinage.
No coinage. Yeah. Put your mouth where your coinage is. Half of those people running their mouth about pro this, pro that, they will have a cup of Starbucks and a cup of a pint of Ben and Jerry's or whoever the companies are right at their side as soon as we're able to go back outside. And I'm going to be alert as to where I buy from and who I'm supporting as well. What I'm finding is the people that you have not been supporting is the people that you should have been supporting. I'm watching, Mr. Woodson. It's amazing how a lot of these people, they go, wow, I didn't know that. These people have been out here for a while. We have been doing Josephine's Cotton going on how many years, Mr. Woodson?
I would say at least 5 years.
5, yes.
5, yes.
Yes. And the inception of Josephine's Cotton started with one of my friends that I always, I had this, how I have projects brewing in my head, but sometimes we had so many concert pieces and so many other projects that Skin was working on that I put it on the back burner. But Josephine's Cotton was right here the whole time. My late great friend, Michael Hicks, he told me, you remind me of Josephine Baker. I turned one day, I said, really? To be honest with you, I knew of her, but as a dancer, the history of Josephine Baker was not taught at Juilliard. It wasn't taught in any of my dance schools that I attended because she was not included on the dance history roster. And that is the truth. She was one of the African American women that was very, very important in the role of dance, especially in Paris, which the language of ballet derives from. French, yes, bonjour, tendu, à la seconde, rond de jambe, dégagé, plié, and relevé. So therefore, if she had that significance and she also had a ballet background, why is she not mentioned in dance history and taught in the great institutions?
Yeah. I mean, they water her down. Yeah. They water her down as the banana dance lady. You know, and that's
not a dancer.
More than that, yeah.
They didn't even consider her to be a dancer. She's a performer. She's a cabaret act.
Yeah.
You know, and so those are the things that we are diving on in Josephine's Cotton. And let me give you another thing, Mr. Woodson, that I wanted to talk about before you touch on the other topics that we need to discuss for today's episode. As I research as usual for our Josephine's Cotton show, I came across a very interesting fact that I said, wow, I wonder in my notes for production, what was the first Afro-American company of theater? When did they start? You know, when was the first Black Afro-American musical? And I came across George Walker, Ada Overton Walker, and Bert Williams dancing the cakewalk in the first Broadway musical written and performed by African Americans in Dahomey in 1903. So then in 1921, Shuffle Along came on. It marked the first full-fledged Broadway musical with an all-Black cast, playwright, composer, and lyricist. The show was a hit, running for about 484 nights on Broadway, a record at that time for Black people, according to the New York Times. Shuffle Along recently came back into the mainstream when George C. was the first African-American theater company to bring it back to life. So you learn that we have been thinking Shuffle Along was the first Black theater company. And we have to do research as in dance, as in theater, as in fitness, as in politics. What is not that first matters all the time, but for us as a people of color, so much of our history has been omitted and so many of the things that we have done has been kicked to the side and overlooked that we need to preserve it. And that is why I'm mentioning it.
No, I mean, I didn't know that. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that. And I definitely will research that because we don't know much about Broadway with Black performers. You know about The Lion King and you know about like The Color Purple, but there are other Black shows featuring African-American performers that we do not know about. You know, you always hear this term, the Great White Way. And I used to think the Great White Way, what does that mean? Is that because it's only for white people? But that term actually refers to the lights on Broadway and when Broadway started and how the lights, you know, illuminated the streets. But yes, we need to know more about the African-American performers and the history of Broadway from the African-American perspective. I think it's so...
Absolutely. And you know what I find, Mr. Woodson, as we progress as a people, and notice I say progress, because that's what I'm talking about, the attitudinal display, whether it be social media. Our behavior has always been watched. It's even watched amongst our own, which is part of the problem. We're so busy saying, wow, I wonder what Tina's doing. I wonder what Joseph's doing. I wonder what Lita's doing. You get what I'm saying? A, B, C, and D is doing, and we don't focus on who's really the people, who are really the people that hold the power that have been holding us back. I'm not the person that wants to hold you back. As soon as I have the power to produce Josephine's Cotton on the level that you know that I want to produce it and have the backing, I will have most of my cast will be diverse because I've always been inclusive. But you better believe most of the cast will be of color to reflect that day and that time and that era. And I will give those colored folks and those colored artists a chance and an opportunity to be on the stage, just like Lewis Johnson did for The Wiz, and bringing so many of those Black artists and performers. And what happens is once they get in, they don't look and say, hey, what is that playwright in the underground doing? It's when you're up there, you have to look at your underground artists and say, you know what? This looks similar to what Tina Thompson has been doing. I hear she's doing Josephine. But instead of that, what we do is we give credit to someone that we don't even know, and we've been watching us skin Josephine's Cotton Review, and we will turn our head and we will go to somebody that we don't know and we will promote them. And that's where I'm going. And not just giving us as an example as a company. Other people have the same situation, that a friend will buy a product from someone else or go to a show that they don't know much about from someone else that's similar to yours or similar in vocabulary or similar in subject, and they will say, I'm not going to support that person just for the fact that I don't know. This is the paradox of our people that I'm still trying to discover while I'm in this evolution of being shut in with God, being shut in with myself, being shut in with my creativity, being shut in with my power as a Black woman, to know that to keep going all these years, and I shall keep going with you and all the great people of Skin and my followers that are by my side. We have grown this company. It is called Skin for a Purpose. It is called Skin for a Purpose. It is a movement, just like Josephine's Cotton Review is a movement. And until we realize that all of this talk don't mean anything, that you have a responsibility, because you never know who you're going to need later. You got to be careful about who you speak to a certain way, because you just never know who you're going to need later. You can keep telling everybody to kiss your stuff, but it's going to be a time when you need that person. So you got to be careful. Wisdom teaches you. Be careful. As I get older in age, wisdom is guiding me. I no longer do the ways like the Bible. I have no longer follow the ways of a boy or a young girl. My mind is captivated. To get my attention and to have my presence, you have to be worth something. You have to have a substance. You have to have a purpose. So if I don't deal with you, there's the delete button. If you are with me on a development and excellence and a purpose towards I'm driven and I can help you with yours, then we're on the same team.
You said it all, Mrs. Tina. You're right. We need to listen. Listen, and if that person is not in the same spiritual flow with you, then I say delete. Delete.
Absolutely.
Delete.
Absolutely. And you got to be careful of the people that are in your circle that are not supporting you. You got to be careful.
So, Miss Tina, so next week, 7 o'clock, we will the cast of Josephine's Cotton, and then 7:30 will be our first virtual performance of Josephine's Cotton on Zoom. So if you're interested out there, please click the subscribe button. Please send an email to skindancecompany@gmail.com for more information, and we will give you the information for the performance.
Yes. And on that note, Mr. Woodson, your usual question of the week.
What is your beauty tip?
Listen, I got a lot of beauty tips.
Yes.
But this is one of the main beauty tips. This week I decided to keep it simple since we're on a shorter episode.
Yes.
I have something that everybody should have as a beauty tip. It's called Everyone deodorant.
Everyone.
It's a natural deodorant.
Yes.
It's called Everyone, meaning everyone should be wearing deodorant, and not just for hygiene purposes, for the air quality of those around you. I'm sorry, but listen, sometimes you just got to be visceral. Shout out to Skin. Where viscerality lives. So what is your product of the week, Mr. Woodson?
Well, mine is simple as well. Since we're all washing our hands, trying to keep those germs away, I have this Mrs. Meyer's hand soap, and this is like the lavender one. Can you see that?
Oh, I love lavender.
I know you love lavender. That's why I brought it this week. This is like my absolute favorite hand soap. You can get it like CVS. It may be hard to find right now because you know the shelves are empty, but try it. It will put you in the best.
Try it. You might like it. So you got to be careful not trying things that you might like. Because you're so busy being shady that you can't even get your gravy.
And I like this Benjamin Franklin mug, $100 bill.
Oh, listen, she's $100 bill. Listen, we need a Harriet Tubman bill. I'm tired of this rumor circulating. Is this a rumor? Listen.
I think we need someone that's going to like push it through. I don't think it's a rumor. I think we just need the
so you know what, Mr. Woodson? Someone on our comments, another one of our followers put, is it? I know that's right. Is it a dream? Is it real? Listen, we have so many unanswered questions.
Yes.
All jokes aside, we have so many unanswered questions in our community as a people, and that's exactly what Beauty in the Spirit is about. Yeah. It's about not exposing the things that we think people will be shocked to hear. Because you know, a lot of people now are on the shock value of things. They need attention. It's to get people so they can click like or follow them. And someone who is strong and knows their worth, you don't care if 2 people are following you or agreeing with you. You have it in you that you know that your purpose will exude itself and speak, and someone will get it. And if we could just get to that place where we say, you know what, this person has a project. This person has something that I need to support. Let me try and help them so we can get this to the next level. Yes. And that's like the $20 bill or whatever bill Harriet should be on. I would say $100 bill, $50 bill. Like, why are we aiming so low? So what I'm saying is I'm all for it. It's time in every platform for people of color. And I don't mean the people of color who I have told you about, but I'm going to get up off this social media because like I tell you, you don't want to do much with social media. Listen, the people of color who, I'm just going to say it and we'll get off. Sometimes they were Black and sometimes they were, okay. That's a whole nother show. Right. So therefore, and there are people who are my complexion and lighter who are guilty of that. Yeah. And I have seen it with thine eyes many a times, especially in the dance field. The people who can get over, and then we're so quick to say, they're Black. Girl, bye. At the end of the day, the people who have been in the front lines and getting the abuse and the discrimination, and the people who have sacrificed when they said things that they were judged for, just so they could take their people to the next level, and letting you know that we will not stand for being disrespected. When you see a color of diversity, you should not be fearful. That's a beautiful thing to see diversity. But instead, you are putting a judgment on when you see a group of Black folk or diverse collectively, you have a fear that something's going to pop off, as the kids say, or happen. That's totally wrong. We have peaceful protesters out here, people of color doing things in a great way. We are taking strides and making strides. And guess what? I'm proud of me and mine. But that's what I'm saying. Let's do the right thing and move progressively.
I agree. Let's do it.
So, Mr. Woodson, that being said,
we're going to be ready for next week. Are you ready, Mrs. Tina?
Listen. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm waiting.
A diva was born ready. Ah, yes. Okay. You know what? Josephine Baker is definitely somewhere in a DNA. You know, this is like 24/7. I have some footage too that, I will be releasing, in our archives. Mm-hmm. I so miss my costume team for skin and different things. What I'm going to say to you is I want you guys to take the week and take the weekend and be progressive and positive and keep your mind and your body strong and your soul, because remember, the mouth is a powerful weapon, and make sure that you use it in the way that will advance us as a people and not stifle us. I'm Tina Thompson.
And I'm Joseph.
And this has been Beauty in the Spirit.
Beauty in the Spirit. See you.
Yes! Are you ready to party? Ow!
I love it. Like our weekly dance party.
See you next week, guys.
Thank you guys. Take care.